Hello, everyone. This is Alex from Sign Builder Illustrated, and we're back with another Sign Stories interview. And today we have Steve Harroun, a signage and wayfinding specialist from Harroun Designs in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We met at ISA last year, and I'm sure if you're watching, you probably know about Steve and his work. So, Steve, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation.
Of course, yeah. Everybody's, we've seen your LinkedIn posts and your work online, and a lot of people network with you at the shows. So it's a big get for us to have you on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy to be
All
here.
right. Yeah, and I know we were talking before we recorded that you're from Pittsburgh and I'm from Cincinnati, but we're gonna put our differences aside for this interview. All right. So, as everyone knows, it's 3 simple questions. They're pretty open-ended, and we like to let the guests take it in any direction they'd like. So, Steve, it's a broad one here. How did you get into the signage industry?
Yeah, so like many people, it was a very roundabout way before I found myself in the industry, and once I was in it, it's like a vacuum you can't get out, right?
Yeah.
So I right out of high school, I joined the Coast Guard, and I did search and rescue and law enforcement for 4 years, active duty.
Oh, wow.
During that time, I designed logos for units. Whenever people depart a station and go, get transferred to another station or leave the service or retire, they get a plaque from their unit. So I designed the plaques that people were given. I designed the plaque that I was given when I left the service.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is kind of funny. And oddly enough, just a few years ago, my buddy sent me a picture of a newspaper article where I was hand painting our station sign, which
Wow.
like again, full circle, back, it like sort of a prequel to my future career there.
Yeah.
So out of the Coast Guard, I went to school for product design. Immediately after school, I got a job in a studio, multifaceted studio where we did logos, branding, packaging, interior design, architecture, all kinds, like the full spectrum of graphic design and product design. So
Okay.
my industrial design degree went straight into practice, designing snow globes for Yankee Candle Company, designing houseware products for people with disabilities. And then we got a sign project that I was put on, and it was this big donor wall for a private K through 12 here in Pittsburgh. And my dad was a master carpenter. And so I kind of leaned on him a little bit for his expertise in woodworking and making removable plaques that were made out of wood with like inlaid gold flake and inlaid bronze plaques and stuff like that. And it turned out really, really nice. It's this enormous donor wall.
That's great.
Then we got another project, and then we got the polar bear exhibit at the Pittsburgh Zoo, which was more immersive design and more almost exhibit design.
Yeah.
And then we did Falling Water, Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, which is just outside of Pittsburgh. So I was on the team that designed the main entrance ID sign, which was a huge rough-hewn piece of sandstone, trail signage for the nature trail that went around it. And it just kind of kept going on, and I became like this sign guy.
Yeah.
We did PNC Bank was very regional and very small at the time. They merged with another somewhat similarly sized bank here in Pittsburgh. So that's when I learned what a flex face sign was. And I just kind of slowly got brought into the industry. And then the job following that was doing sign planning and design for the state of Maryland's highway system, for the city of Nashville, for a ski resort up, way up north in Canada, for the city of Winnipeg, like designing maps and topography and just again, and it just kept going and going and going. And through my career, I just kind of I gravitated towards signage, and here I am 21 years later with my own sign design firm. So
that's amazing. Yeah, so I didn't realize that about the different groups within the service that you get a plaque like that. So that's a serendipitous way for you to start there. And
right.
I drive through Maryland all the time because I drive from Jersey to Ohio, and I see those signs. Are those still the current signs?
So they implemented about a quarter of what we had designed.
Yeah.
We did all of the main arteries, secondary and tertiary roads. So any green and white, blue and white, or brown and white sign we redrew, and there was like, it was a team, there was the owner and me and one other person.
Yeah.
So it was like 6,000 signs or something
Oh my
crazy in
gosh,
this
that's insane.
huge Corel file. And, getting the stroke width right on the border, on the white border.
Yeah.
We wrote an amendment into the manual of uniform traffic control devices. It's basically
Wow.
like the Bible that controls, how big stop signs are, what font is used on highway signs and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting project to take on, and
Wow.
enormous. It was huge.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be a ton of signs. That's pretty cool. So, you've touched on it a little bit in your first answer, but what do you really love about the signage industry?
Well, I mean, just as you heard from my first answer, I think each of these three questions will sort of segue into one another, but I love the variety of projects that we get to work on and that I've had the opportunity to work on throughout the years. I love the people in the industry. I'm, heavily involved with the ISA, and
Yeah.
I think that's because everything that I've gotten out of the ISA, like networking with, you know, people that have their own shop and it's just a one person shop, and all the way up to, companies like Stratus and the executives at Stratus.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone is so willing to share their time and what they've learned through their career
Yeah.
and their knowledge and their little tips and tricks. And it's such a great community of this industry, because you think about the sign industry and how niche of an industry it is, but it is this enormous monster of every business has a sign nowadays. Like it's, and it's one of the oldest professions in the world. I look at like ancient hieroglyphs, those were signs,
Yeah.
like this dates back thousands of years, right? So yeah, every project's different. The variety, the clients typically are amazing to work with, and just working with people in the industry, it's a real blessing.
Yeah, I agree with you. After being, tangentially related to signage for a few years and then in this role for almost, coming up on 4 now, people really are extremely willing to give you kind of like their secret sauce or like really hard earned, lessons in business
Mhm.
that in other industries people might not want to share with a competitor, but people are very generous in this industry.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. And the ones that aren't, and they keep everything close to the vest, oh, this is the way we make ADA signs. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
There's 8,000 sign companies making ADA signs the exact same way you are. They
Exactly.
might use a different machine, but hey, it's an ADA sign at the end of the day. Or, oh, we set our digital printer to these parameters. Guess what? There's 4,000 sign shops that have that exact printer, and they're probably set very similarly. The
Yeah,
ones that
exactly.
don't, I've noticed the ones that don't tend to share or collaborate or partner or whatever, they tend to not have the same success that I've seen the other ones have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the collaboration in this industry. It's
Yeah.
great.
Well said. I completely agree. So the last question is also broad, but you can take it wherever you would like to go with it. What do you I'm sorry, what's some advice you would give to, yourself 10 years ago where, you might have been a little more nervous about the direction you want to take your personal career in your life, or you're feeling a little uneasy? Because a lot of people are in that spot right now where they know they want to be involved with signage and make a living out of it, but it feels a little intimidating.
Yeah, there's a lot of answers to this question. And again, jumping from question two into this one, it's a perfect segue. So I attribute a lot of my success to specializing in all of the regulations that surround signage. So
Yeah.
88, building code, fire code, learning all of those rules, regulations. There's nuclear regulatory. I already spoke about the MUTCD. There are a ton of regulations when it comes to signage,
Yeah.
certain signage, of course, but becoming a subject matter expert I'm a total sign nerd. I'm a total geek. I try to soak up as much information as possible. Throughout I've done that throughout my career, and becoming that subject matter expert has opened a lot of doors for me. It's gained me a lot of projects, a lot of clients.
Yeah.
I've been invited to speak at the ISA and provide educational sessions on the subject. But some specific things I would tell myself getting into this field. Number one, there are so many specialties in the signage industry. If you're a tech nerd, you can get super deep into CNC, CAD CAM, the technology around digital signage, the software, the templates, the Wi-Fi, the software that you can do wayfinding on a phone now. So there's like computer programming. If you're a super techie nerd or into technology, you can certainly specialize in that facet of the industry. If you're good with your hands, you can work in a shop. You can do sign installation. You can learn the technical details of how certain materials work together, like plastic and metals, and plastic expands at a certain rate, metal expands at a different rate, hot and cold. These materials go together, these ones don't. And you can really hone in on certain facets of the industry. If you're really good at design and you're more of an artist, you can get into more custom signage design, or some signage almost serves as sculpture, or installation pieces or whatever. So there's that side. Like, there's such a broad variety of specific professions that you can really hone in on. I would say pick something that you love doing and focus on it and become that subject matter expert in that one part of the field, and you'll be invaluable to any sign company, right?
That's pretty good advice.
The variety of projects that we get to work on adds to the variety of skills that you get throughout your career. So it's really lent me to focus on the stuff that we do, and just happy to be here and wake up every day excited to go to work. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. The last person I interviewed owned a print shop that does a ton of vehicle wraps and wall wraps, and he said the exact same thing, where he's like, I'm just happy that I wake up happy to go to work, because I have a lot of friends that can't say the same thing.
Exactly. So true.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying is interesting about honing in to kind of stand out and really claim your space in the signage industry, because certain shops are leaning that way lately. I've been, hearing that from people, where it's like, it used to be, you got to be a one-stop shop and do absolutely anything the client asks you to do. But then you realize you get spread so thin, and you become so stressed about trying to do everything, that it actually might be smarter to kind of specialize.
Absolutely. I have a friend, Matt DeSalvatore, a close friend, and he's down in Florida. They actually sold all of their sign making equipment, and they just do sign installs. Like, the story of how they have evolved their business and grown because of it, because they focus on, okay, we're really good at this one thing, let's do that. And they're continually growing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you can actually check that out on the Behind the Signs podcast that we host on signshop.com. He was actually on there and talked about it. So that's a nice plug that you gave me there. Appreciate it.
Matt's a great guy. I'm not surprised he's one that you have interviewed. He's a fantastic guy.
All right, perfect. Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. This was some really valuable information. And we are, super excited to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll stay in touch and maybe work on some articles in the future.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Alex. And I will add one last thing. Anyone getting into the industry, or anyone currently in the industry, network. I would not be where I am without having an amazing network of people behind me. Like you said, there's people that I can call. We don't typically do vehicle wraps. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people that are really good at vehicle wraps that I send people to do that work. Like, grow your network as far and wide as you can, and it'll get you far in this industry.
All right. Great advice once again. Thank you, Steve. And for everybody watching, thanks for watching. If you're watching, if you wouldn't mind throwing a subscribe to the Sign Builder Illustrated YouTube page, and then always just check signshop.com every day for the latest information in the signage market. Thanks again, Steve, and everybody have a nice day.
Thank you. Take care.